kid once told me, if it wasn't for you, I would have committed suicide.
Really?
So like, this is what gets me up every day is like that uh that impact, that change, that motivation to get to school.
Exclusive interviews, global voices, real stories.
Welcome to Worldwide Entertainment TV. And you are here with your girl, Miss Goldie. Miss Goldie to you. And today we have one of my very special homies, my friend, Mr. Andrew Wang. Welcome to Worldwide Entertainment TV.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
And it's an honor and a privilege for you to be here. You're actually, I don't admire many people, but you are one of the people that I admire, your dedication and the work that you do. And we're gonna get into that, and we're gonna have a little fun here, because you're a teacher, and we're gonna talk about the things that you use to teach. So I got a little things up my sleeve too.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Wayne, be real. If teaching was a rap battle, what's your educator MC name?
Well, I already have one because of a close friend of yours who you were just on their show, Jim Millimeter.
Hype
Get
Access Radio. Shout out to Jamila Meeting Queen over there. Make
so
sure
when
y'all
I was
check them out.
I was doing a prior conference, she wrote on a status like Mr. Hip Hop's going to be doing educational panel at Howard. I was like, Mr. Hip Hop. I was like, oh, there's my cred.
And
Okay.
and I told her I second that. That I definitely second that you can have that name, Mr. Hip Hop. You definitely can have that name.
I just have to
So
trademark it. But yeah, this is
so if your lesson plan dropped on Spotify, what
okay.
would the title be?
Ooh.
Rhymes and Reasoning?
I want to do something with like Wangsta, but I'm trying to think of it in a more positive way. I remember when I first listened to that 50 Cent song that had the word Wangsta, I was like, yeah, my name's in it. And then I looked it up. I was like, ooh, not rags to rich. Ooh, that's a good question.
Good question,
Um,
right?
get rich? No.
So let's give you two to pick from.
Okay, fine.
Rhymes and reasoning, or bars for the brain.
Oh, bars for the brain.
All
Oh,
right, all right. You bring hip hop into the classroom. What's your
yes.
students' first reaction when the beat drops?
Their first reaction is like as soon as like it's all about excitement, engagement. They're excited to be there and I'm excited to be with them, sort of thing. So
And do the
like
kids like to dance?
they like to move, they like to dance. I actually start off my class very hip hop like. I use a pledge. I use the I Can song by Nas, but I changed it to We Can. So we know we can be where we want to be. If we work hard at
Yes.
it, we'll be where we want to be. And then this was a cool thing. So I had this like expectation thing. And at first I was using some generic hip hop beat. I was like, whatever. And then a kid started going, y'all gonna make me lose. I was like, wait, does that beat work with that? I mean, I could give you a little sneak. I never actually did this for anyone. Basically, I would play the beat to party up,
Mhm.
and then they would basically. I don't know if I could play the music because of copyright, but it's like RESPECT for myself, for others, for everything. Hey, 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 hey. Fall direction without delay. Put my hands up. If I need anything, I'll use my brain before my voice. If I think ahead, I'll make a smart choice.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to get into why Mr. Wang, Andrew is such a special teacher in a minute. You're gonna get it in a minute. So
Sound good?
complete this bar. Education hits different when
Like a like to rhyme it up. Oh, education hits different when you make it less about yourself and more about the people that you're helping out with.
I
The
love
idea
it.
that when you're teaching, it's not I'm teaching them, they're teaching me. I'm not teaching for them. I'm teaching with them because they could teach me things that I've never seen before, and I could teach them things that they've never seen before. So it's a agreement.
Right. I love it. Who's one hip hop artist you think has the most neurodivergent genius energy?
Well, I know DMX was a little bit bipolar, but I'm not going to go with that one. I would say someone like a Kendrick Lamar because I feel like that's kind of like how my journey was being a little. He was like a very quiet kid, and I heard that he had like a stutter, but when he was rapping, he was able to overcome his stutter and get his name out there. There's actually a whole video that talks about that from I forget like a news segment, and even the teacher didn't even realize when they were talking about Kendrick Lamar being a rapper. He was like, Kendrick, young Kendrick, the rapper? Seriously? So like the idea that like he was able to open himself up through his words and his messages. And I feel like as I got more into this culture, I was very shy as well. And now I feel like I'm being able to open up in more ways than I ever thought possible.
I love it. So you're an advocate for neurodivergent students.
Right.
Tell us more about that and also tell us how did hip hop become your bridge to reach them?
That's a great question. It's not only the fact that they're neurodivergent because I'm neurodivergent too. So I'm level 1 on the spectrum. There's, like, different levels on the autism spectrum. So, like, I had a lot of social anxiety, just had a lot of, like, energy in a sense. Um, so I would say I'm level 1 there. And then I had a learning disability. I have what they have now, which is called an IEP. And for those who are curious to know what that means, it's an individualized education plan. So you're literally tailored to be put in a room with kids of other similar students that have IEPs. In fact, I'll say quickly, Chance the Rapper even admitted he had an IEP. So like, uh, very talented people, you know, don't think of it as a deficit, think of it as a way to find your belonging. But I was able to do well successfully school wise in elementary school. Then I had them what was called a 504, which is another learning disability. But the only difference is that I was in a general classroom with other students, which I actually thought was harder than being in a classroom with all specialized because I was given opportunities to take tests in a certain other room with extra time, with someone to help read directions. And I would have kids like smirking under their breath, knowing that like, oh wow, he's odd. Like, why does he have to take a test somewhere else? Like, why can't he be like the rest of us?
Right.
So that whole feeling of an outcast, feeling like an outsider, but I let music and I really let hip hop really be the catalyst to all this without realizing it. Like I started off as a beatboxer, and for those who don't know, that's like that sort of thing. So I did that at 8 years old from a camp counselor, and I just kept wanting to develop, and that was my way of expression. That was my language because I was very shy.
Hmm.
I even used to like when I was in 6th grade, I rapped the song, "Where's the Love?" Like, I was doing, I think, will.i.am's part, but singing the Justin Timberlake part, and again, that was the first time people really saw me open up and see who I was. I even tried some of the breaking stuff, like, at bar mitzvahs when I was, like, 13. I mean, I could do, like, half a headstand and call it a day with that, but I really just I think, like, hip hop actually followed me as much as I followed it, and it was something that really wasn't associated where I grew up. I grew up in a very high upper end Caucasian neighborhood, we could put that. Uh, I felt like hip hop was a thing that like wasn't taught in schools, but we just knew it from in mainstream radio. So me and my friends would like secretly like freestyle where I beatbox and they would do this and that.
Hmm.
So it was a way of also like connecting with other people in ways that I didn't do before, the idea of like freestyling or now I know as a cipher and coming together and not judging anyone, but just letting people show what they do and then acknowledging it. Um,
Hmm.
so I know that's answering. So these students that I work with had trouble in their own personal districts that they come to this place.
Hmm.
And they kind of think of it kind of like the Yonkers reference of a black cloud. Like people think of these kids coming here as like the dumping ground.
Right.
And I tried to show them this is not a place for you to feel rejected. This is a place for you to shine and to find things that they didn't find in you.
Right.
So I bring that level of energy and intensity, and that's what motivates me every day to go, is knowing that there is impact being made by doing this work. There is change to make them better people and to help them, go through society. And I mean, I totally understand that from not only uh, being in their shoes as a student, but I mean, one of the biggest things that just keeps me going is when I was first teaching in the Bronx. This is intense. A kid once told me, if it wasn't for you, I would have committed suicide.
Really?
So like, this is what gets me up every day is like that, uh, that impact, that change, that motivation to get to school. It's just like their motivation is my motivation. So I don't know if that answer. What was the other part of the question? I feel like I kind of went into my own.
No, you actually did a wonderful job in answering the question. The question was, you're an advocate for neurodivergent students, and
Right.
how did it become your bridge to reach them?
So, like, the other thing with neurodivergent, I masked myself for years. For people that don't know what that means, it means I hid myself from being neurodivergent. And I was doing work with a guy named Jerome Enders who wrote this book called Yonkers Lost City of Hip Hop. And he has another project, which I have with me, or I did have with me. Oh, there it is. This is like the binder version of this Making of a Scribe, which was his journey to writing his hip hop story. But within the work, he talks about the symbols of the brain. And that got me thinking because believe it or not, I didn't think about this work until last year where I was supposed to be doing another leave replacement, and leave replacement being that like if a teacher's on maternity leave or there's a medical emergency, they get another teacher to fill in for a certain amount of time before they come back. I was heading to a workshop in the city and I slipped on concrete and fractured my kneecap. So I couldn't do anything for a couple of months. And then I was thinking to myself, like, a physical wait a minute. If I'm someone that had a learning disability, if hip hop has all these elements, which I'll list right now, which is emceeing, DJing, breaking, graffiti, and knowledge, if there's so many different sensories like visual, auditory, tactile, has anyone ever researched how to use that hip hop and neurodivergence? So I Googled
Right.
it and nothing showed up. So how it got into this was through Jerome and the symbols in the brain. I wanted to work on hip hop and neurodivergence. Uh, well, I shouldn't say that. I was thinking about it, and then a friend of mine suggested maybe you should like present this at a conference or something like that. I know about this conference for accessibility for all arts, which I did present, but at first I was like, "Yeah, I don't know if I want to reveal that much about myself. It feels like
Right.
very sensitive information." And then all of a sudden I just put out a few feeders to a couple conferences, and every conference accepted me to present. I was like, oh wow, okay, now I gotta actually do this research because the work is getting that recognition. And one of the conferences was called APMA, which is the Association of Popular Music Education.
Hmm.
And I want to give credit. My collaborator, co-author, his name is Jose Valentino Ruiz. He was going to do a presentation there and saw that I was doing that and mentioned maybe we can work together. His son's on the spectrum. He knew that I was on the spectrum. So why not come up with something together?
Right.
So one of the articles we have was this from the National Association for Music Education. And I've told other people write articles. So what? So I was at this conference for the Eastern Division Conference for the Making of a Scribe, fun enough, which was the only hip hop related session in the whole East Coast. And the keynote speaker was the past Secretary of Education for Joe Biden. and his name is Miguel Cardona.
Mhm.
During his speech, Miguel Cardona referred to this article, showing the
Wow.
importance that hip hop education has. And that's when I started to think, oh my God, this is real. This is not just writing like little articles here and there. This is going to make a huge impact. And it just has continued the work ever since. So I've presented this nationally, internationally. And it's just cool to see that something that I had to go through is getting
Mhm.
more positive recognition than it was maybe growing up a little bit more negative. So to see that impact, I mean, like it's on national TV. There was a
I
Kelly
love it.
Clarkson show had this thing called Spin the Spectrum come in, which is people that DJ to neurodivergent students. So, and rappers are opening up about it, like Chance the Rapper.
Mhm.
Gucci Man just said that he was bipolar and had schizophrenia, you know, like all these things you probably never would have happened had it not been, I don't want to take credit, but like this is how important the hip hop and neurodivergence is. And especially with the issues happening now with autism, like what the Secretary of Health claims with Tylenol and whatnot, it's become a relevant topic again. So it's allowed me
Right.
opportunities to share what the importance hip hop and neurodivergence has.
I love it. I love it. And how far or close are you to making that impact that you need? And what would you need people to do to support you and
Mm.
what and how to push this forward? Like how can people get involved
Right.
and
I would
help
say the
you push this
parents, I mean,
agenda?
I agree that the parents have to be involved. I agree that the idea that those who shouldn't be cut, well, the big thing is when they were cutting the special ed staff and they were cutting funding, like these kids need it. I can't imagine where I'd be right now if I didn't have the support services in which I did. So to
Right.
say that like we're going to be cutting the funding of this because of issues with capital or whatnot, you know, it's just like it's insane to me. So we have to recognize that it's not like a choice, like the government keeps thinking. It's not a
Hmm.
choice to be on the spectrum. It's a part of you. And I think people have to acknowledge it's okay
It
and
is.
recognize that it doesn't go away. I've heard people say like, "Oh, but now you said that you had trouble with this and that, so you must be off the." No, because it's neurological. It's still always with me. It's still ingrained in me. There's just
Right.
ways to prove it and get better at it. And that's what I've been doing also with this research. Like kids with speech impediments can do stuff with beatboxing. In fact, a buddy of mine who works at Black Westchester allowed me to post an article about beatboxing and speech impediments. So,
Hmm.
like, the understanding that it's still a part of you, but it doesn't have to be a deficit. It could be a strength and enhancing something that you are passionate about. A lot of people that are neurodivergent have very intense focus on a certain passion. How is that a bad thing if it helps them to excel to where they want to get to?
Right. It's just like having a gift, something you love, you just keep on working on it. How does hip hop give neurodivergent students permission to express themselves unapologetically?
There's so many ways of doing it. That's why I think about that. Like, you could be someone maybe that is more introverted but can write out lyrics. I've heard even kids say that I can't read a book, but I can write my own story, you know, that sort of thing. Or you could have someone on the mic just like coming in and just sharing things about themselves and not criticizing or making comments, but just acknowledging what they're doing. You can do it if someone were a DJ, like auditory sense. If you were kinesthetic with breaking, tactile, like writing the graffiti. And I guess one of the big things we have to do, because I think I just thought of this also, stop just saying that this is an urban thing.
Mhm.
I didn't come from an urban environment, but I still feel hip hop. I don't think that, I think that's a misinformation that we're getting in media and in other sources that like this is only for kids of certain. And yes, I get where the culture came from, but it doesn't mean that no one else can take on the culture and what it's been.
I love it.
That's one of the big things I also want to see happen is that places like where I grew up can be like, that's cool. Like I can do this and that too. Instead of, oh, this is only an urban thing. So like let them do it and then we just see it happen.
And I love that you said that from a different perspective because you may have people from where you came from saying, oh, that's an urban thing. Let them do that. That's for them. And then you may have people like where I come from saying, this is an urban thing. This is out. So I love that you said that because it's for everybody. It's for what you love. And I mean, you earn the name as the hip hop. I promise you. I am a hip hop artist, and Andrew is way deeper on hip hop and the study of it, the culture of it. He knows way more rap songs than I do. We went to the Locks concert. He had front row seats. Like he does not play in the support of every artist, especially the artists that come from Westchester. If you didn't know before, you know now. He shares your stuff. He shares things. He supports independent people.
Yeah.
He does a lot of support. He
And I'm
supports
willing
me
to
more
go
than
in.
people I grew up with, actually.
I've always just been as someone that's not talking the talk, but putting action to what things are. And sometimes that could be a good thing. Sometimes it can get me in a little bit of a mess. But, like I want to advocate for what's right. And
That's
if
right.
that, and I'll take the risk for what that will be to help support
And I
those
got
that
your
need
back
it.
too. I got your back too, you know. So what's the one moment that made you say, this is why I teach this way?
What is the one moment? I know that story I shared with one, but I think it's the big thing, the big person I follow. There's a book by a guy named of Chris Emden. He wrote a book for white folks who teach in the hood. And at first I was like, okay, but is this going to be generic? But it wasn't. And one of the things he just kept emphasizing on was community and peace, love, unity, and having fun. Those are the things that get me excited every day going into the classroom is the idea that like we're going to be working together and making something beautiful out of nothing. It's like taking a blank canvas and then starting to put paint on it. Now you're creating something. Now you have a way of expression. Now you have something that's you, that emphasizes you and embraces who you are. And it's so true. I mean, even I had a student today, like, who was very loud on the microphone. So I had to like put it down a little bit, but he was like, this is like the only place I feel I can express myself.
Right.
That's why, and that's another thing. We have to keep music education alive for that. We have to keep the arts alive for that fact. The idea that, like, it expresses who you are and what you can do. Because a lot of other things, you have to follow certain guidelines, certain formulas, whatever. But I don't treat my class like that. I want to treat it so this is not for me, I tell them, it's for you. I want to tailor your education, what you want to learn through music, through what you want to do.
And that was my next question. If you could design a national curriculum that blends hip hop and inclusion, what would it look like in a short?
I believe in it, and they're claiming to work on it through the National Association for Music Education, is having it be student centered, giving them opportunities, giving them a voice. That's what hip hop did. It gave voice to the marginalized communities to then get to where they want to be. And I want to do the same thing with my classroom and teaching, Like most of the decisions I make, well, when they're younger, I try to do it as well. And I'll say that when they're older and want more recognition, want more ownership, then yeah, I let them choose. I let them choose what music we play. I let them choose. And I don't like take away I mean, everyone says like if it's the profanity or whatever, and if there is an issue, you put an instrument there, you put a clap in there, and
Right.
at this, but like there are ways to do it without to modify things without saying like, no, that's inappropriate because
Hmm.
that's canceling culture. That's
Right.
another big thing, that the idea that you're taking away something that represents them and saying, "No, you can't do that," you
But do
know?
you think that sometimes hip hop can be offensive, derogatory, and also not the best
Influence?
influence? Yes.
Um, it depends on the intention of the artist and what they're trying to do and what message they're trying to bring. I believe there are some that, yes, are doing it very much commercial, trying to just get money out of it, that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
then, well, the other thing with that though is that there are artists still that are doing a message to give themselves a voice, give themselves a platform that's positive. And that's the
Right.
other thing I've talked about with other people is like everyone says, "Oh, today there's no good hip hop artists. They were only good." It's like if you dig deep enough, there are.
If you dig deep enough, right?
Right. And that's the other, well, I mean, it's true. And then there are people that don't want to or have someone else do it for them.
Mhm.
And we have to stop living that way. If you really want to know if there's some better stuff, then look for it yourself.
And
For,
that's the key with everybody is so much information now. Before we had to go to the libraries, we had to go to the
mm.
record stores. You had to dig through the records and you had to get the guy in the record store to tell you what this record was, or maybe he would play it for you. But nowadays, everything is at your fingertips. Anything you want to know, anything you want to learn, research here is it's right at your fingertips. So
And that's
it's
not a bad thing.
it's not
It, and that's another thing that I think we just like, I have to embrace what my students know and maybe what they listen to as much as they do with me.
right.
Uh, So I don't negate anything they do if it's not for the way that connects them to to their lives and what they're experiencing.
I definitely can agree with that. So, hip hop is more than music. It's therapy, identity, and strategy. How do
Correct.
your students experience that?
A lot of it is like what other areas are they experiencing just besides the music part? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like,
There's like,
like you said, it's more than music for them, like with the speech therapy. And
yeah,
so I just
there's,
want you to express
no, I get
how it
that.
helps.
It
Hmm.
helps with phonation because you're saying things multiple times when doing it. If you're reading a passage, sometimes it can be hard to try to navigate what you're reading, but if you put a flow or a beat to it, then that feels natural. So the reading becomes natural. So it helps with literacy. There are ways you can use hip hop outside of just other life, outside of music. In fact, actually, do I have it with me? My friend has a book called Hip Hop Can Save America. And on that, he relates to how hip hop is therapy. Hip hop is civics. Hip hop is computer coding. Actually, give me one second. I got to show the book because I feel like
Yeah,
he's done such beautiful work
right.
that it can't be unacknowledged. Is this it?
That's right. See how Andrew is so supportive of hip hop, and not just only hip hop as music, but hip hop as education.
Absolutely. I can't seem to find it at the moment.
Give us his name and the name of the book.
Oh, Hip Hop Could Save America by Manny Faces. It's a
Manny
beaut.
Faces. Okay, shout out to Manny Faces.
Yeah, he does a whole podcast himself on hip hop and how it could save America.
Yeah.
And it's true. And like he talks about how it's used financial literacy ways. Uh, there are ways you can use it. There are people that like do it with SEO. There are
Hmm.
people that, which is social emotional learning. There are people that
Okay.
So, like, I think it is more than the music because of the culture aspect of it. That
Hmm.
the idea that it wasn't just, and that's what everyone thinks, that it's rap. Rap is an aspect of it, but it's not the entire entity of what hip hop is and what it
Thank you.
represents and what it does. So
I
that's
love
definitely,
that.
yeah.
See, if you want to know anything about hip hop, you can go follow Andrew because he made me realize I didn't love hip hop as much as I thought I did. So, do you think that hip hop should be recognized as a legitimate academic discipline?
Absolutely. And what's beautiful about it is that it's already happening in certain places. There's a first hip hop minor study at Howard University. You can major in hip hop now at Peabody Conservatory of Music. You can minor in hip hop, I believe, at Loyola University. Uh, Illinois just came out with a program. Actually, my buddy just did a keynote for UNC Charlotte, I believe. They're starting a hip hop class. So, like, it's always been academically institutional. Even breaking is done in every single Ivy League school. So it's always been institutional. It just, we have to think about it as that it's for everyone because you're going to hear those names of those areas. It's like, "Oh, that's an HBCU or though that's in an urban area." But no, if anything, like anywhere could teach it, anywhere could find the value of it. And there's so many people that there are people that do it. They're like school guidance counselors.
Hmm.
It could benefit anyone and everyone if we can just acknowledge it and embrace it. And I mean, that's the other cool thing about my job is that, well, a couple things. We talk about the locks. I didn't realize is that Jadakiss' mother was the head chef once at Greenberg Graham. And Eliza Hamilton started an orphanage in the campus that then became a day therapy to a school. So
Wow.
Hamilton is literally associated with the school I'm at. So like Lin-Manuel has shown up to the building apparently a couple times and like has provided funding and such.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. How can schools shift from labeling differences to celebrating them?
By not labeling there shouldn't be labels at all. I think the idea of labeling is putting a target on someone's back or like saying, look, I'm this and that. And there's nothing wrong with embracing it when you're comfortable. I think that schools should acknowledge everyone for who they are and understand that we have to tailor the students to their strengths and help them according to their needs for everyone. No one's a lost cause. And that's what actually also inspires me about this job is seeing that I think we're all on the same page at the job in the sense of the staff seeing that like you have potential. You're not a lost cause. We have to, it may not have worked at one place you're at. Doesn't mean that it can't work for, the next place. Just because one's failure can't, doesn't mean it can't lead to success. We
Yeah,
need to fall down it. Everyone, we need to make mistakes to grow.
yeah. You are so intelligent. What message do you want to send to neurodivergent students who feel misunderstood?
This is a big one, but you're not alone. The idea that, and that's one of the big things I really want to do at some point in my life is write a memoir of my journey so I could show that kid, like, look, I know the kids that do this, right? That was me. I know the kids that like to beatbox around. That was me. The idea that I just think embracing who you are without feeling embarrassed about it or feeling down on yourself for it. That, everyone has their little quirks and this and that. And it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It just means that you provide something unique. You
Right.
provide something special in the sense that it's part of you. It defines who you are.
I agree.
And
I
that's the
definitely agree.
message I want to, yeah, that's definitely the message I want to show them.
Because we all are unique, and a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to dress like someone else, look like someone else, act like someone else.
Right.
And no one is actually finding their uniqueness because it's like we're programmed to buy the clothes that we see is the season. It's what everybody else has on, or, whatever car is new, or Jordans are new, or
Right.
we're
Right.
trained to
Following the
just
trend. Yeah.
find the trend. So that's amazing. If people are lucky enough to find their individuality, it's people that spend their whole life searching for their individuality. And I feel like knowing that is a power within itself.
And I feel like more these days, at least when I was growing up, it felt like I had to shield or hide myself. But I feel like there is starting to be more opening up in terms of your gender, in terms of what your religious values are. These are things that, like, growing up, I feel I couldn't even express or share because it was so, like, against the norm, but now I feel like it is. And now I know that, like, there are, in the government, in a sense, is trying to, like, change all that and trying to take away people's recognition of their self or gentrification, that type of thing. And why does that matter? Like,
Right.
really? Why does that have such a negative impact if that's who
Right.
they feel they want to be?
If that's who they want to be. How does your friends and family support you and feel
Oh,
about you?
um, in which regards? To the hip
Just
hop, to the neurodivergence?
the hip hop and just you it's like I know you probably like a little renegade out there where you live at.
It was at first challenging in the sense that I guess they didn't know what I was really doing and who I was associating with. And then I had to say, like, no, these are people that are knowledgeable historians. These are people that uh, about community. And then I think it changed their mind because my parents, actually, I'll admit, have always had good values and always seemed to do things to help others and not just themselves. My mother is a psychologist for children that have been abused. In fact, there's someone in the film industry. She was on the Woody Allen Mia Farrow case.
Wow.
And my dad was a pediatric ophthalmologist. Even my dad, like, I think that's where I got this idea that, like, um, standing up, even though things get messy, is the right thing to do. Because my dad was once suspended a week during segregation, when he was helping an African American student with his homework, they suspended him for a week.
Wow.
And that was in Florida.
Mhm.
So I think my family has always been one about treating people how they are, and one that believes in respecting values, respecting those for who they are. I mean, it's funny that I never got to see that culture shock until I went to college. And I
Mhm.
remember doing my field work at in Overtown, which is a tricky area somewhat in Miami. And it was one of the best experiences I had, and it embraced me to want to help urban education, not to be like the savior or to help myself look good, but to see the potential these kids have that those turn away from.
I love that. That's why, you guys, I told you this is what makes him different and special as a teacher because it's not just, K through 12. It's not just college. It's kids that have to fight through more than just education.
And
And
especially adults. Yeah.
you are the perfect example of what the fight looks like and how to win it. And, we definitely support you over here and whatever it is. So we're gonna play a little game,
Okay.
and it's called lyrics or lesson. So I'll read and you tell me if
Oh,
it's lyrics or if it's a lesson.
all right.
Okay, number one. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone.
That a lyric?
Yes, the lyric, KRS-One.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Focus isn't about sitting still. It's about finding your rhythm.
Sounds like a lesson.
It's definitely a lesson.
Two and
Ah, they say the mind is a battlefield, so I rhyme my way through the war.
that's a lyric. I feel like I've heard that one. Is it?
Yeah, it's a lyric. Okay, don't let nobody label you. Labels are for mixtapes, not people.
That's a lesson.
Definitely. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
That's a lyric. Is that? It sounds like Jay Z's. No, is it a
Definitely
lyric?
Jay-Z. I'm glad we wasn't playing for money over here, Kevin.
It's
We would be losing. Every
true.
brain's got a beat. It just moves at a different tempo.
It's a lyric, but I can't remember. Wait, hold on.
Every brain's got a beat. It just moves at a different tempo.
Oh, that's a lesson. That's not a lyric.
Yeah, that's definitely a lesson. Dream big, work hard, stay humble.
Is that a lyric? Or am I going to lose this one?
It says it could be a Drake lyric or one
Oh,
one of one of your motivational slides. Let's call it universal wisdom. So you didn't
mm,
lose that one either. I used to read Word Up magazine.
yeah, no. It was all a dream. Yeah, that's Biggie, of course.
Education is the new revolution.
I'm going to say lesson.
Yeah. Okay, last one.
What?
Even if you
Pressure.
can't hear the beat, you can still move the crowd.
That's a lesson. There's no lyric with that.
I I know who to take with me when I'm getting ready to go on a game show.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. I couldn't wait for this moment actually. And just getting to know, more about you and what you do beyond what I see you posting and promoting. You're excellent. If this doesn't work, you can always be a promoter or a
You
hip
know,
hop
people have told me that.
historian. You're very great at it. Is there anything you want to say? How can we find you? How can people
Sure.
support the movement?
You can find me on Facebook as Andrew Wang. I'm on Instagram as Mr. Wang2692. I also do work with 914 Hip Hop based on this book. I have that with me by AJ Woodson. So I have a Facebook group based on that. And then there's an Instagram for Hip Hop Thing 914. And to support the movement, there's so many, I mean, depending on where you are, I'll shout out. There's an organization I heard of recently called Ramped. It was like recording artists for people with disabilities. So I think that's a really significant thing. Um, Definitely follow, because I might be on a podcast with them soon. Berkeley Accessible Arts for All Education. They do great work with kids that are neurodivergent, and they have them perform, and they have a conference for anyone with any type of disability, and Spin the Spectrum does great work. There's so many great things that, again, it's one of those like kind of diving in to see what happens. And I guess check out Crip Hop. They do a lot with neurodivergence. SK Shlomo in the UK does. So there's so many different outlets and facets. It's just, yeah, it's out there and
You
it's
gotta
your
look
job to
for it.
explore it. Yeah, exactly.
That's coming straight from a teacher. The information is here, folks. You just have to look for it. And if you
Do your
wanna
homework, you know?
do your homework, also follow Andrew Wang on Facebook. He always posts great information and the things that he's doing. And I just love it. And he's my homie. So, I'm always gonna be supporting what he's doing.
And I'll support you.
And thank you for tuning in to Worldwide Entertainment TV. Once again, stay tuned because we're going to stay coming.
Thanks for watching Worldwide Entertainment TV. Don't forget to subscribe and watch more videos right here.